and we are starting now. Welcome everyone to the first session of our playtest for my in-the-works system, Project Eyon. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started with the first episode, The Missing Diplomat. We start with Kasha. Kasha, you don't quite know how you got here, and you don't quite know where you are. You're running, and you can hear your feet pounding against stone. You look all around you, but it's just so dark. You can hear chains rattling in the distance, and you know, deep in your heart and your soul, that you just have to keep running, that you can't let it catch you. But are these your thoughts? You look behind you, and then suddenly your eyes jolt open, and you find yourself back on your boat. You can hear waves sloshing against the vessel that you're in outside. One of your kin, he comes down to where you are, and he says to you, "Kasha, we've arrived. Are you awake?"
I don't know. Wait, am I? Are any of us awake?
He looks at you for a moment. We're here. We're in Circa. You should get going. I think they're expecting you. All right.
May your return home be safe, and may the gods shine upon you.
Likewise, sister. I wish you luck in finding Rocash. I'm sure... Well, never mind. I'll be seeing you, and may the tides be with you, he says as he returns above deck. Do you say anything back as he walks away?
Before he turns his back, I give him the clan's traditional hand signal of respect, traditional hand sign of respect, and I bow to him. I actually get on my knees and bow to him as thanks for his service and for everything he's done up to this point for the clan.
He notices this gesture and recognizes its value, and he says to you, "There's no need to thank us, sister. We're all doing this for the good of the clan."
Brother, you know I don't care. I must still show my respect. It is the way.
Perhaps. Good luck to you. You walk above deck, and you find that the sort of like bridge to allow you to get off of the ship has already been let down for you. You find a man, a Pandoran, in fact, with short brown hair. He's rather young looking. He doesn't seem to be too old as far as your encounters with previous, Pandoran. Maybe you'd say, mid-20s at the most. He seems rather, happy. He waves over to you. Hey, over here. Are you the diplomat they sent?
That I am, my friend, and may I please have the honor of your name?
Oh, I'm Jonah. It's nice to meet you. I wish that it could have been under better circumstances, but well, I guess you can't always get what you want.
And I do agree with you, my friend.
But anyways, the captain's waiting for us back at the assembly. We should go ahead and get started. Follow me. I'll get you through the gate. Do you have your missive?
That I do, and before we get there, is there any possible way I could get a drink of water first? I'm quite parched.
Yeah, actually, he looks around on himself. He pats himself down. I'm not sure if you mind, like, drinking after other people, but you can have a drink of my water skin if you'd like. He extends it out to you.
I take it, and as I do, I bring it up to my chest, and in the Orcan native language, I say a blessing upon it, and I take a swig and return it to him.
Is this magic water now? Did you bless it with mana?
And that I did, my friend.
Wow.
Just for the kindness you have shown me in the last few moments.
Well, thanks. I guess. But anyways, we should really get going. The captain is certainly, well, he's always one to be in a rush. Anyways, follow me.
That he has, and yes, let's get going.
He takes you through the dock area of the city of Circa, and all around you, it's just busy, busy, busy. It's the middle of winter now. It's cold, but to you, this is just like any other day. Farso has been, warm to you, except for during the deep winter. At its peak, it can get kind of chilly, but you're used to this, is what I'm trying to convey to you. On the other hand, it seems that the other races are not. You notice that Jonah is wearing, for instance, a bit more heavier clothing, and so are most of the dock workers, for that matter. You see carts being loaded up with crates of what you presume are trade goods or supplies of some sort, and they're being taken over to the gate by horse, um, and they're actually heading in the same direction that you are. You get up to the line, actually, that's leading into the city. And Jonah, he takes this sort of like badge he has, and he says, "Excuse me, we need to get through. We're on official business. I'm very sorry." As he sort of like begins to like make his way through the line, bringing you ahead with him.
Quick question. About how many people are there in front of us as we approach the gate?
Currently about like 30 or so. It would take you a good bit of time to get through here, if you weren't being given some sort of like, go ahead. But you're on urgent
And,
business, so.
as we force our way through the crowd, everyone that we're cutting in front of, I give each of them a hug and say, "My brother or sister, I do apologize, but I am on urgent business. Please forgive me."
Um, you're generally like, they kind of, most of the people like look at you kind of weird as you do this. Some of them like try to like break away from this sudden like, invasion of their space. They like sort of like try to push you off. But thankfully, none of them seem to be like particularly irritated about it. Perhaps, they're just in a good mood. Maybe not. They're sitting in a line. But you make it to the front of the line with Jonah's help, and you find this man busily scribbling away in a book. He looks up and he sees you two. It's another Pandoran man. This one is a bit older, a bit balder, a bit grayer. And he looks at you, and he has this sort of like dry look on his face, like he's done this day after day after day, and he says, "Jonah, is there a reason that you've cut your way through this line?" And he looks at the man, and he says, "Well, there's always a reason, sir. I have a special guest here, the diplomat that Marcus is looking for." He looks to Jonah, and he says, "That's Captain Marcus to you. Don't forget that." Of course, sir. I meant no disrespect. Go ahead and show him your missive. What's your name again?"
I am the shaman Kasha Darkfin of the Darkfin clan. And I bow to the guards respectively.
And the older man, he looks at you and he just says very dryly, "Your missive? I don't have all day."
And I hand them the missive.
He takes the sort of like letter that you've gotten. It's in this like sort of like leathery parchment. He takes his knife off his side. He breaks open the seal, and he opens the letter with like a crunch, almost like a kind of like that, right? He examines it. "I see. So you're here to help with the missing persons case. You're looking for your brother, I take it?"
That is correct, my friend. And just to let you know, it will get better.
"We'll see. Anyways, you're free to enter." He folds the missive back up and he hands it to you. "Be on your best behavior here in Circa. We won't confiscate your weapons because of the state the city is in, but just know that open violence is prohibited."
I will not wish that upon anyone, my friend.
"You may enter." He like bangs a bell next to him, and you notice the gate sort of like rises up just enough for you to enter.
And quick out of character. Well, actually, it would be in character. As we were forcing our way through the crowd, by chance, were there anyone that I might have gotten a bad feeling from? Someone that wanted to come into the city to do harm?
No, no, not in particular. Like, I would say not.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Continuing on, Jonah guides you through the city streets of Circa, and it is just bustling here. Um, you've been through Circa before on your journey to becoming a shaman. You briefly visited this place, and you can recall helping to lay the spirit of a man that had died here to rest. So it's not completely foreign to you, but you didn't really stick around too much. You had places to be and obligations to fulfill on your journey. But now you can sort of like stop and you can just sort of like look around for the briefest of moments, at least, as Jonah is hastily like guiding you towards the assembly. You pass through what you assume to be the market area. This is where all of the carts are headed. And once again, you can see all different members of the different races just milling about, seemingly, doing their things. Um, Over in the distance, you see this sort of like, it almost reminds you of a structure that your own people would have made. Um, it's like, you're not sure what exactly it is, but you can hear cheering coming from it. Like a lot of cheering, some sort of stadium, perhaps? You're not exactly sure, but it does remind you of your own race's sort of like architecture.
Okay.
You also see this tree. Most of the trees here are either dead because it's winter, or they're like covered in snow. But this one is different. You remember seeing this one before? Its leaves are bright pink, almost glowing, in fact. And there's not a drop of snow upon the leaves. And it seems to be in full bloom, despite the winter.
Is it a fruit-bearing tree or is it a flower-bearing tree?
It is a flower-bearing tree. It's kind of like if you can imagine a like a cherry blossom tree from Japan, something along those lines.
Okay, and before we pass it, out of respect to the tree, since I knew I was going to see this tree again, I have brought the tree an offering of my clan's finest floral wine, and I go up to the tree, set the bottle of wine at the trunk of the tree, say a prayer, thanking it for everything it does, and and I'm on my way.
Okay. Jonah stops and they watch you do this. they're tapping their foot the whole time against the stone. You also notice, as you're, taking this in, the 5 statues of the Aeons surrounding it. This is a shrine of sorts. It's sort of the central part of the city. But that's not your end destination. You have somewhere else to be, the assembly, and you continue to make your way towards it. As you walk around, Jonah asks you, "Were you making an offering to peace back there, or something?"
It's an offering of true respect.
Huh. They say as long as that tree continues to blossom, the peace will continue to prosper. You think it's true?
My own personal beliefs, and whether it's an 1,000 years of evil reign, that evil will end. Thus, everything in life, good and bad, must come to an end at some point. But something like this, I will try my hardest to make sure it never ends.
Huh. Well, I guess all we can do is hope. It hasn't wilted yet, though, so I guess that's a good sign.
As
Anyways,
long as one person has the will, it will be forever.
right. As long as one person has the will. He seems to um, take those words into consideration for a moment. His gaze sort of like dips down. Uh, yeah. Anyways, we're just follow me, okay? And he takes you along, and eventually you reach the very outskirts of the assembly. It's this sort of like, how do I describe this? Like multiple domes over the top, supported by pillars. It's slightly raised off of the ground, its foundation is, and you have to walk up a set of stairs to get inside of it. Can you sort of imagine that in your mind's eye? Um,
That I can.
yeah, and he walks you up it. There are guards stationed everywhere. In fact, you notice that there seems to be a lot more guards than usual. Um, Probably due to the recent happenings in the city, you would imagine. Um, but you're stopped at the entrance, of course. Uh, and as usual, it's just the guards wondering, why are you here? What is your business? That sort of thing. Jonah quickly guides you through. You show your missive once more, and you're let through. Eventually, as you walk through the halls of the assembly, you're brought into a small room. Jonah opens the door for you, and at this point, the rest of the party joins the fray. If we could, real quick, everybody briefly, one at a time, of course, if you could describe your character's appearance and what you're doing. We'll start at the top, so Bill, if you would like to.
Well, I'm an apprentice, so I'm doing whatever my teacher has told me to do today. I'm a rather small guy, and I'm hustling around working at something.
All right. Perhaps reading away at some sort of a tome or a scroll or something like that. I can
Yeah,
see
I
that.
might even be copying stuff if my master wants me to copy stuff.
I can
I've
see that.
probably got I've probably got ink stained hands from I look like a scribe or something.
Gotcha. All right. Kasha, if you'd like to go ahead and describe your appearance for the rest of the people.
She is an Orcan, dressed in traditional shaman garbs. As she walks in, it just like for a split moment, everyone in the party might just feel a different presence in the room. And when she walks in, she looks around, looks over to her guide, and hands him a pouch of gold, and says something to him, and starts walking towards the front.
Okay. I forget. Did I actually give you any starting gold? I can't remember.
I can't remember. I'm however much it was. She would just give him
1 second.
however much she had.
You actually don't have any gold.
Oh no.
No. So, yeah. Anyways, we can just redo that. What would you like to do? Kasha?
Oh, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm also eating at the same time. But she gives him a bottle of wine, thanks him for his guidance, and gives him a quick blessing, and starts walking towards the front of the crowd.
Okay. It's Torgwin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Torgwin, could you go ahead and describe yourself for us?
All right. So you see Torgwin, an elf, who is even, well, kind of a little bit smaller than the average, if you can even tell if you've seen an elf before. Dressed in usual leather armor, and has like a small. Oh, come on.
It's okay, take your time.
A small cloak on his back and a knife tucked into his belt. You can see him walking up and down the room. Just he's not really calm, but well, still kind of alright.
Gotcha. All right, Takana, if you'd like to go ahead and describe your character.
Takana is about 6 feet tall, but you can't quite tell while he's sitting down on a stone bench. He's dressed in a dark gray the common outfit for his
Real quick, Takana, I don't know if it's
Indeed.
like you're too far away from your mic or what. It seems a bit off.
Alright. I'll start again. Takana is about 6 feet tall, sitting on a stone stool. He's wearing a dark gray kama, which is a robe, armor plates on the shoulders, and a long sword at his hip. He has long black hair, about just past the shoulder, and tight beard, also black.
Okay.
He is simply sitting on the stool, sharpening his blade.
Gotcha. All right, and Gemini, if you could go ahead and describe yourself.
Gemini would be wearing traditional pirate garb, obviously winterized for the cold winter days. Somewhere in the room where Gemini would be able to see everyone that comes in. However, if Gemini was able to see Kasha hand over the wine bottle, he would definitely try to go talk to that person to try to get that wine from them.
Like, as soon as she did that, or would you wait?
Well, right after she handed it over, he would wait until she walked away, then go after that guy to ask him about it.
Okay, gotcha. We'll get to that in a sec. The other person that you see currently in the room with you is a flug. They stand at about, I'd say maybe 5'5". You notice, though, unlike most flug who are like stark black, This flug is like stark white. They don't really have a whole lot in the way of like material belongings on them. As per usual, if you've interacted with the flug before, they seem to just have a knife at their side and a sheath, and some clothes for decency. Not even armor, just clothes, really. And they're just sitting there, and they're just tapping their, taloned claw against the ground, just waiting and watching. At this point, Jonah, the man who was handed the wine and who guided Kasha here, he says to all of you, well, I'm sure that Captain Marcus will be here any moment. And as he says that, in fact, you hear the door behind him that he came in and closed behind him creak open, and you notice this sort of gruff man with like very surprisingly like dark tan skin, but it's sort of highlighted because he has this like blondish hair at the same time, so it's kind of odd. You don't typically associate those traits with each other. He seems kind of tired. You notice he has some like blackness under his eyes, like he hasn't really slept very well lately. He carries a great sword upon his back, and he walks in, he looks around warily, and he closes the door behind him. This is who we were able to find. He looks over as he places a hand on his hip to Jonah. Jonah looks at him. Yeah, Cap, this looks like it's going to be it. Sorry, it was just kind of short notice, He looks at him for a moment. He looks down. Then he looks back up. It's okay. You did all I could ask of you. And then he walks over to sort of a podium at the center of this room. I'm sure all of you are aware of the situation here in Circa, right? There have been quite a few missing people recently, and frankly, we're at our wits' end, as much as it shames me to say that. So, we're bringing in some outside help. All of you were drawn by this, sort of advertisement. You may have seen a poster around the town, or you may have heard from someone that the guard were looking for some sort of help for some sort of a task. It was the reward that perhaps drew you here, or maybe the promise of something interesting happening. Currently, the Assembly is offering about, well, a small fortune, to say the least, to be evenly divided between each of you if you are able to successfully help us find these missing persons. We will, of course, provide you with any sort of information that we can. I wanted to stress to you, though, that if you are able to find any sort of information or anything that might lead us to these people, not to go at this on your own. You're to come back to us and inform us of the situation, and then we will move as a group to handle it. Do I make myself clear to you?
Gemini nods.
All right. The reward is 10,000 pieces to be evenly divided between all of you. And as he says that, that's quite a sum of money. Actually, that's more than any one person could carry on their own. So it's a good thing that it's being evenly divided between all of you, in fact. So then, if you wish to leave and not help us with this, you're free to go now. If you want to stay and earn a bit of money, potentially, then you can. Now is your chance to make that choice. Okay.
How many people are in this room?
Excluding the 2 guards, there's 6 of you.
Kasha finds the closest chair and sits down, and as she does so, she brings out her smoking pipe, loads it up, and sits there just like, I'm not going anywhere.
That's what I like to hear. I'll take it by the silence in the room that the rest of you are interested as well in this. Then we can go ahead and move on to what we know about the missing victims and the circumstances that they disappeared under. There doesn't appear to be a particular pattern to who is taken. No one race is being targeted. No one of any particular faith. There's seemingly nothing binding these people together. And what's worse is that now they're taking more high-profile people. As I'm sure you know, he gestures over to Kasha with a outstretched hand briefly. Your brother, I imagine it is, right? Has gone missing. He's a diplomat from the Darkfin tribe. And it is of the utmost importance that he be retrieved. He was supposed to be with his guard, but unfortunately, well, things happened. You'll be able to go and ask that guard. He's currently under house arrest, just on the chance that he might be involved in this case. Go ahead, Kasha.
Upon hearing that her brother's guard was arrested, she was like, I know him personally, and he would never do anything against my brother. So, will you please free him?
The man looks up at you. I can't do that. Even if I wanted to. He's there under the orders of the Assembly, and only the Assembly can set him free. If he's proven innocent, then I'm sure he will be let free. I don't see why he wouldn't be.
My friend, if I sound rude, I do apologize, but I demand an audience with the Assembly.
He sort of scoffs at you for a moment. That's not something that you order on a whim. That's something that has to be planned. You could wait till the next meeting, or you could work to solve this case and prove that man's innocent if he is indeed innocent. He sort of, go ahead, my bad.
She sits there for a few moments without saying anything. She was like, may I speak to the guard?
Of course, I had said that you could. Just in case he might know something useful for you to go off of. We've already talked with him, but maybe you can find something else out that we missed at this point. And he sort of lingers on that for a moment. He seems particularly ashamed of that. But go ahead, my bad.
Upon understanding what he's trying to say, she's like, am I able to give him a gift? Don't worry, it's not, it will not let him escape or anything. I do not want that for him, because he is one of my brothers. Because Darkfin, we're all family.
Actually, the guard that he is referring to is not a Darkfin. I will say you do know him, but he's actually a Pandoran. The guard is.
For Kasha, anyone, doesn't matter their race or anything, if they are protecting someone of the Darkfin clan, they are Darkfin.
Fair enough. They all seem to have went missing in different time frames, different places. But it does seem to be centered around the poorer part of town. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. And what she does, she reaches into her bag and takes out her last bottle of wine, and it's the look of the bottle is extremely old, quite dusty, and she's like, "This is what I want to give him."
Okay. That is... Do you mind if you give this to him? That will be your last bottle of wine. Like, you'll have given away.
I am aware of that. I don't drink
Fair enough.
unless my rituals call for it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gemini breaks and goes, "How much do you want for that?" And points at the wine.
Your life.
Fair enough.
This here, the Darkfins clan's first chief made this himself. It's been passed down through chiefs, from chief to chief.
That is a fine bottle of wine, then.
That it is, and my friend, I thank you, and after I say I thank you, I bow down to you in respect and say there's very few people know a true vintage bottle of wine.
As you're having this conversation, Marcus, the captain, he... I don't mean to be rude, but we have work to do, don't you think? Were there any questions pertaining to this case that you wanted to ask me? This is the time to do it.
How many people have gone missing?
He looks at you. About 20 now.
And what is all their status, their social statuses? Or does it vary?
It varies. There is no clear pattern between who is taken. It seems indiscriminate.
And the location that they've gone missing from?
Mostly within the poorer part of town.
Are you able to take me to the last
The guard that was protecting your brother can tell you the last thing that he saw of him. If you go to question him, I'm sure.
How does the number of people missing compare to the number of people usually missing in a city this size?
It's more so the rate at which they disappeared. I may not have conveyed that so quickly. They disappeared very quickly, it seems.
And in the same period of time, maybe one person would be missing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Can Jim and I begin to talk to the young man with the bottle of wine?
You can if you'd like. Sure. He's just sitting there, not sitting there, standing there beside the door leading out, waiting.
I'm just going to ask him, you don't really want that, do you?
He looks up at you, maybe for the right price.
I'll give you 3 gold pieces for that.
He looks at you for a second. 3 gold? Come on, man, you can do better than that.
Fine, how about this? How about when I get a lead, I'll tell Captain that you were the one who got the lead.
Well,
And 3 gold pieces.
Well, you won't need to, because I'm going with you.
You're going, okay. Fine, I'll give you 10.
Okay, deal.
Alright. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, quick question. Is Kasha within earshot of this conversation?
Yes. Yeah, it happens right there.
She reaches into her bag and pulls out a small pebble and throw it at the pirate.
You feel a small impact against your back, Gemini.
I hand over the gold and I take the bottle.
Moving on.
I'm already drunk.
I look over at the Orcan and chuckle a bit.
Okay. Moving on.
Everyone just hears Kasha just start going.
It's like the SpongeBob, the cuss words.
I got
Pretty,
you.
and because it's well known that the Dark Fang clan don't laugh.
Oof.
What does this bottle of wine do, or what is it? What's the properties?
Make you drunk.
It's a bottle of wine.
Any kind of special significance? Is it like like? Am I only going to get this wine from the Orcan race?
Yeah, this is unique. It's not your everyday wine.
Perfect. I'm going to put it in my satchel.
Okay, you do. Continuing on, the captain, having seemingly been satisfied, he gestures over to his subordinate, Jonah. Go ahead and take them to his house. See if you can find anything out. And don't leave their side. Whatever you do. Do you understand? Jonah, he salutes to the captain real quick, kind of awkwardly. Like the gesture isn't really natural to him. Yes, sir. Of course, sir. You can count on me. And the captain exits out of the room thereafter, leaving you to yourselves. The Flug in the room, he speaks up and he says, so then, where is this man's house at? Just follow me. I'll take you right there.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Can anyone in the room play an instrument?
As a shaman, actually, out of character right for a moment. From my knowledge of shamans, they do use drums. With that being said, but in character, there is I would say a 5-inch high drum of some sort on my character's side.
Okay. Anybody else?
No. Actually, no.
No. Okay. I'm just gonna tell the young man that's gonna escort us to their house. I'm gonna go look somewhere else, and then I'll meet back with you at the cherry blossom tree.
He looks at you for a moment. Where are you gonna go?
I'm gonna go gather my own leads.
He looks at you for a moment and he sort of frowns. I don't mean any offense to you, sir, but I think it would be better if we stuck together. I know that fanning out to find information alone might perhaps lead to something better, but, well, what if something happens to you while you're looking?
Well, then you'll know I'm missing. I mean, if they don't know, these so-called kidnappers wouldn't know that I'm part of this task force to try to track them down. So, I mean, I could just be another random person on the street. But while we're all together, gathering information that we could all just share later together, fanning out to gather information, seems like the best possible idea right now.
He considers for a moment, and then he looks at you again and he says, the captain's gonna kill me. Okay, listen. He takes his hands and he sort of like, almost like points at you, if you can imagine, and then he claps his hands together. Just don't go into the poorer part of town. Like, stick to, like, the market. Okay?
No problem. and then I'm going to walk off.
As you walk off, he says, "I'm holding you to your word."
Don't worry, a pirate always keeps his word.
Right.
Kind of looks at the young man. I'm not so sure about that one. But if he finds
Okay.
it, good for him.
Okay, I'm sure Kasha has seen the pirate go on his own course. Is it possible to call on any spirits in the area to watch over and protect the pirate?
You have water magic and shadow magic rather.
A shot.
The spirits associated with those two really wouldn't be all that interested in trying to provide protection for him. You know, especially the shadow ones. Especially the shadow ones.
Exactly.
But anyways, continuing on, we'll go with the first group first. That's people that are going to go visit the guard. Well, were you going to say something there, Torg?
Yeah. Was just about to say, well, if we want to find him, we'll probably find him in a tavern, I would guess.
He said to meet him back at the cherry tree. Hopefully he goes there.
I mean, in the meantime.
Fair point.
Yeah, you do have a point. He does seem the type, doesn't he?
Perhaps I can back him if you'd like.
No, I'd rather not have anybody else going off and doing potentially stupid things. I mean, no offense to any of you. I just don't know you.
Of course. That is fine. Lead
I
the way.
understand.
Anyways, let's go and see him. Follow me. And he leads you away from the assembly and into the sort of higher income part of the town. The buildings here are made of stone and, well, it just looks a lot nicer. You notice that the roofs are, as well, they're tiled roofs of sorts. They have this sort of like green sheen to them that you can see underneath the snow slightly. And you're trotting through the snow currently to make your way, presumably, to this man's house. Is there anything that you wish to say along the way? To each other or Jonah?
As we're going to our destination, I offer those who are still part of the party a little bit of my food.
What is your food?
Bread and fish.
Bread and fish. Okay. So I imagine you probably break off a piece of the bread and, you know, maybe offer like a sliver of the fish if they want to take it. Right? Kasha?
I'm here, and that is correct.
All right. As you do so, as soon as you offer this up, the flug in the party, he just hastily, just like almost in a very rude fashion, he just snatches like the part of it that you're offering like out and immediately begins to like chew on the fish, just devouring it all too quickly.
Be careful, my friend. Your consumption of food might be the end of you.
What do you mean?
And just for a split second, she's like, "Bitch, you gonna eat like that? You gonna choke?" And then, there's just as much as her attitude shifted, it goes back to what the flug has seen her as so far.
Right. I'll take that into consideration. Thank you.
It's an honor, my friend. Many blessings upon you and your family.
Your name is, what was it, Kasha, right?
Kasha is correct. I am the high shaman of my tribe.
Name is Chorus.
She extends her arm. Quick question. Does she know the most respectful way to handshake his race?
Usually they do like non like touching sort of things. Partly because the Flug have like very sharp claw like fingers, so it wouldn't be the most pleasant experience for you.
From a shaman standpoint, she does know that, but that does not bother her. To truly embrace a Flug, one must consider the pain.
So I take it you extend your hand to him?
She does.
He looks at your hand. Oh god, they're always going back into the voice. He looks to your hand for a moment, then up to you. He says to you as he takes your hand lightly, not to dig his claws into your wrist, "You're a strange one. Yes." And then he, just, briefly share this handshake. Do any of the rest of you do anything at this point? Interact here?
Takana looks at the bread and fish that he was offered, and then the Flug, who hungrily scarfs his down and hands his over to the bird.
He
And says, "You may have mine. I am not hungry."
he takes a look at the offering and he hesitates. And he looks up at you with narrowed eyes and he says, "You want nothing in exchange for this?"
Of course, there's offering of good faith.
And as you say that, he takes it, this time a bit more slowly. "Thank you."
Takana nods yes.
All right. If there's nothing else from the rest of the party, we can continue onward with the scene. Okay. Continuing on, you make your way through this neighborhood, and eventually you come across a rather small, sort of apartment-esque building, I'd imagine. There are 2 guards stationed outside of it. They see your approach. Jonah approaches them. He holds up his hand. "Hey, we're here to see him. We're here to see Chris again." Of course, just the usual. These are our help. The 2 guards, they look at the rest of you. "All of them?" One of them asks. "All of them. Every single one." They go to the door and they insert a key. They turn it and they unlock it and they allow you entry. Go ahead. Do your thing. You enter into the building. It's fairly nicely kept. It's a lot warmer than it is outside. There's a fire crackling in the hearth further in. It seems pretty Spartan. There's not a whole lot of decorations, not a whole lot of furniture. Very simple. Very clean. Very well kept. You hear footsteps coming from further in, and a man who is a bit lighter skinned, sporting a sort of like a reddish beard, and sort of like, I guess, shoulder length red hair along with it, looks at you for a moment. "Oh." And then his eyes set on Kasha, and they sort of like widen. "Kasha? Is that you?"
And who are you, my friend?
This is your guard friend that you knew. The one you consider to be family. This is Chris.
Uh, from Chris's standpoint, he can tell that for a split moment, her mind was on her brother, and once she truly recognized him, she gave him the biggest hug, and he could hear her softly sobbing.
He hugs you back, and he says to you, "I'm sorry about your brother. I should have stayed with him, but he insisted on going on his own."
He is a stubborn son of a bitch, or son of a gun. Edit that out.
Yeah.
He is extremely stubborn. I know you did your best, because remember, you used to be my guardian.
For a little bit, yes.
7 years.
It has been a long time, hasn't it? But I imagine you're here because you want to know the last bit that I know and what happened prior to him disappearing, right?
That is correct. Before she even finishes her sentences, she gets down on one knee, which is the ultimate show of respect amongst the clan, and offers him the dusty bottle of the oldest wine.
Do you still have one bottle? You didn't give them all away, or?
And no, I still had that one bottle that I was going to give the guardian.
Okay, that's right. I remember now. Yes. He takes a look at it. It's been a while since I've had a good drink. Come in, all of you, and let's take a seat, and I will tell you what I know. I hope that perhaps it can be more useful to you than to the rest of guards here. Please, to come in. And you all, sort of go in. You close the door behind you, and he guides you into the living room, around the hearth. He gathers several sort of like glasses for you, and he begins to pour the wine, one at a time, and he hands out a drink to each of you. I hope you don't mind, Kasha, but I figured there was no better time to share a drink.
All I have to say is, everyone here, they are part of the tribe.
So then, what I know...
Takana raises his glass and says, "Cheers," then quickly downs the glass.
Cheers. He raises his glass. Chris raises his glass to you, and he downs it. Chorus sort of like looks at his for a moment. He sniffs it. Then he slowly begins to like sip on it, like unsure of what to think about it. Perhaps. Jonah just lays his glass on the table. He doesn't seem to be too interested. He just sits there and watches and listens to what's unfolding. Chris, he closes his eyes for a moment as he downs his glass as well. I wish that it could be a cheerful time, friends, but, well, not every day can be a good day. I honestly don't have a whole lot to share with you, but I'll tell you what I know prior to Rocash's disappearance. It had started out like any other day here. I woke up in my house. I went to meet him in the town, and we went about business as usual. There didn't seem to be too much that was different. And then I really can't explain it, but something changed all of a sudden about him. He seemed... And he sort of like shakes his head in confusion and bewilderment. He closes his eyes and then he opens them as he like looks over to you. Distant. If that makes sense.
Storyteller, quick question. Is it possible for Kasha to use her shamanistic magic to actually embrace him and actually live through what he's witnessed?
You can do that with shadow magic. Yes, you can peer into his memory and see it.
Okay, and I'll do that.
Okay, so suddenly Kasha, like, and this is actually the first use of the magic in the system, so I'll go ahead and explain this. It's a very simple spell. It'll only cost you 1 mana. Alright? I'm actually not even going to have you make a roll for it, because it's just that simple. And I don't imagine that he would be resisting all that much, as he's kind of reliving the memory currently. So suddenly Kasha like breaks through, and you grab him by his hands, or like do you hug him again, or?
What she does, she barely lays her right hand upon him, and before she starts saying the spell, she's like, "Brother, may I please?"
He looks at you for a moment. Somewhat familiar with your magic. By all means, I have nothing to hide.
And as she does, in Orcan, she starts reciting her spell, and the very tip of her tail, just looking at it before she starts reciting the spell, is the darkest shade of black you will ever see. And upon starting the recital of her spell, the shadow around the tip of her tail just starts getting larger and larger, up to the point no one can see her or the other person.
Okay, so the shadows sort of like deepen intensely around the room. They seem to deepen so much, in fact, that they sort of like dim the flame of the hearth. It gets perhaps a little bit colder, a little bit more... What's the word I'm looking for? Christ, what's this word? A little bit more...
Chili?
Chilly, sure, why not? You're put on edge, especially you, Torgwin. This suddenly brings back memories of something not so pleasant to you. How do you react? Do you react in any way specifically, Torgwin?
Turgwin maybe shuffles back a bit, like back into near the door, and hopes that nobody really notices.
Okay, gotcha.
Quick question. As she's doing the spell, is she able to sense Torrigan's uneasiness?
I would say no. You're probably busy trying to focus in on the memory.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So as you're doing this, suddenly, through the darkness, you find yourself back in the city streets of Circa. It's broad daylight now. And you're seemingly just walking behind your brother. You see him, he's leaning over a counter at a shop. You see a Terran man. He seems to be like scolding his apprentice in the background, a Pandoran of all things, and he says, "I told you not to do that. You're gonna mess up the steel, do you understand?" And the apprentice quickly apologizes. I'm sorry, sir. I'll do better next time. And he goes back to talking to your brother. Your gaze drifts off to the side towards the tree. And then suddenly your gaze is brought back to your brother. And he sort of has this sort of empty look as he looks at you. It seems very uncharacteristic of him. He looks at you for a moment and he says, "Chris," you hear yourself say, Yes. What is it? I need some time alone. I want you to go and take the rest of the day off. Enjoy yourself. But I'm really not supposed to do that if something were to happen to you. He raises his trident slightly off the back of his back. That's so stupid. But anyways, he raises his trident up slightly off his back. I'll be fine. I just need to go and think about some things. Okay? Well, okay. If you need me, I'll be at my house. And you walk off and you look behind as you see your brother walking towards the poorer part of the town where all these other missing people had seemingly gone to.
Quick question. The look on his face, what was it? Was it like a depressive look or what?
It was like he wasn't entirely there.
Have I ever, or has Kasha ever personally seen him with this specific look?
Not quite, but you have seen something similar when he was in a trance.
Was it a self-diagnosed trance, or was it I guess you could say a forceful trance?
Honestly, judging from the memory, you really don't know. It might have been something that he, suddenly had some sort of an epiphany about something, or maybe there is indeed some sort of foul play going on. You really can't tell, to be perfectly honest. But considering that he's missing, foul play seems likely.
Okay.
If you'll give me just a moment, I actually have to go use the bathroom again. Let's take a quick break here if you want to. Be right back.
Sounds good. Sounds good, because I actually didn't need to do the same.
Be right back. Sorry.
Anyone that's still listening, if it seems like I'm trying to hog the limelight, I do apologize. So, if you think I'm trying to take over everything, let me know, and I will try my best to back down. Because I have been known to try and take the limelight.
No, look, personally, it's fine because I not usually that much of a role player, so this campaign is probably for me. But yeah.
Sounds good,
I
my
just think
friend.
there's too many people.
Yeah, that too.
I run games with 3 or 4 players. 4 is pushing it. We've got 5.
Yeah.
I've only been the dungeon master of only one 4-year campaign. Yes, is a 4-year.
Okay. I'm back. Are we all here?
I'm here.
Okay. Takana, Torg, are you here?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. So you come out of your sort of trance-like state there, Kasha, having seen what he saw through his eyes. Do you say anything to the party? And as the trance ends, the rest of you notice that the room immediately lightens up, and the sort of oppressive atmosphere that was present clears, almost as if it were never really there to begin with.
Anybody looking at my character notice he's taking notes.
Gotcha. It would make sense. I mean, you would be extremely fascinated by this, I'd imagine.
Chicana looks over at the young detective and smiles as he's writing down his notes. Attempts to converse with him in saying, "It's quite interesting, isn't it? Shadow magic."
Your mic was really bad there, man.
Pretty much always is, quite honest.
Yeah, it is kind of bad, honestly. Is there anything perhaps that can be done to improve its quality?
Yeah. One moment, you'll get a different headset.
Okay. While they're doing that, Torgwin, was there anything you wanted to do? Or are you still like backed away in the corner?
Yeah, I was still back in the corner, or still am, and Turgun is just moving back slowly. Back into the room.
Okay.
To back in the group, pretty much.
Gotcha. Kasha, go ahead and give me a. It's gonna be 1 moment. It's gonna be a perception roll, and you're gonna use your perception twice. So give me a 2d10 and then add your perception twice to the roll.
Is she even here?
I think so. Kasha, are you there? Did she say she was going somewhere?
I mean, she said she would do the same, like go to the toilet as well. So.
Oh Christ! I did not hear that. Okay.
That's right.
Was there anything that Marcus wanted to do?
No, I'm observing and taking notes.
Fair enough.
I mean, out of character, I said there were an awful lot of players, and it's tough to keep track of who's who, but that was out of character.
Gotcha. I think it'll get a little bit better as we become more familiar with each other's voices. Okay, in that case, let's swap over to Phantom then. Phantom, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've headed back into the market district. What are you looking for specifically? Where were you going?
Looking at the map that you provided us, which building was the building that we started in, or where we all met at?
Where you all met at? 1 second,
Yeah.
let me bring that.
Is it the green building, the tower-looking building?
It's the green building. That's the assembly, the one in the far right top corner.
Okay. And now where would they have... Oh, actually, I don't know. You don't have to tell me where they went. Okay, yeah, so I walked towards the market. I'm going to take a sip of my wine, and I'm going to pull out my puppet out of my satchel, and I'm going to let it walk on the ground as I fiddle with the strings and clap my hands to kind of make a beat to get the puppet to do some pretty funny, silly things to try to attract the children that have been around. Gemini's been in town for a while, so the children should know who I am, the puppet master.
All right. You do draw to yourself a small crowd of children and some of their parents as they're in the market district. You're just having them like do an act sort of at the moment?
Right. The puppet's dancing, doing funny things to get the kids to laugh. Do I notice any children that might not have parents there? They're may look on the poorer side, or
No, not at the moment. No.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep on my act and try to make some money as I march my puppet through the market, clapping and dancing for the kids.
Gotcha.
Marcus is fascinated. Isn't taking notes because he's watching so carefully.
Oh, this is happening in a completely different area, actually.
Oh, we're separated? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I dipped. That's why I'm making a beat. That's why I was asking if anybody played instruments. Yeah, I'm gonna keep marching until I get a So you said children are interested, they're following me, but all these children have parents. They're
Yeah, there don't seem to be any that are like on their own or anything. As far as go ahead and give me what would this be for as far as a roll? Go ahead and give me I'm gonna have it be a talk face roll. All right.
okay.
So that's 2d10 plus your talk plus your face.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second. You said slash roll. You said 2d10.
Yep.
Plus talking face. Okay.
Yep.
18.
18?
Yeah.
Not bad. Okay, so that's pretty darn good, actually. And as per usual, to your old performances, you know, the kids just go, like, wild. And some of the parents are even, like, just staring in awe at, you know, this performance that you're putting on.
Am I getting money here?
Yeah, you see a few of them do toss you coins. Specifically, what they do is they toss them to the puppet, right? And then, you know, I'd imagine you have the puppet, like, pick them up, right?
Yeah, I'm making the puppet pick him up, and the puppet has like a little coin purse on his belt.
All right. Does the puppet have a name?
His name is Mr. Puppet. That's his name.
Okay, not the most original thing, but why not?
Mr. Puppet.
One of the children says, "How do you do it, sir? How do you control Mr. Puppet like that?"
One of the children do?
Yeah.
The puppet's gonna look at the child and say, "Years of practice."
Does he say that without you moving your mouth?
Of course, I move my mouth, but a different little voice comes out.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
And then, is this child by themselves asking this question?
No, they're not.
Okay. So would you say like the parents are on looking and the children are around me, or like the parents and the children all together?
It's the parents are more towards the back, and the kids
Okay.
are like up front just watching as you're doing this.
So me myself, I'm gonna back away a little bit, keeping hold of the string, and I'm gonna have the puppet, Mr. Puppet's gonna say, "Children, gather round for a story."
Okay, the kids they go for it and they like sit down in front of him.
Now, in our town of Circa, many people disappear. Where they go, we do not know. Do any of you know where?
Oh, go ahead and gain 5 points of experience. That was fucking brilliant. Continuing on though, the kids sort of like they go, "Ooh, you know, Mom and Dad, we're talking about some people going missing recently. They told us not to go alone anywhere. But I don't know about anything else, really. They didn't really talk about it all that much."
Okay, thank you very much. And then Mr. Puppet's gonna back up a little bit and start dancing and being silly again.
Gotcha. For that scene, I'll go ahead and say you got 5 gold pieces.
Cool. So as I finish up, then Gemini's gonna say, "All right, children, Mr. Puppet and I have to march around town to bring joy to the other children." And Gemini is going to take Mr. Puppet and walk him towards the edge of the poor district to try to gather more children.
Okay. In that case,
Creepy as that sounds.
I know it sounds really creepy. I'm like, well, why does he want to gather these children?
You didn't know?
Weird eye-patched pirate-looking man with a puppet. That doesn't scream suspicious. In fact, here's what I'm going to say. As you're doing this, in fact, Gemini, one of the guards approaches you, right? it's this, I'm going to say, actually, this Orcan that approaches you. Right? This big old, like, burly-ass, Orchid man, right? He looks at you for a moment as he approaches you. He's like, hey.
Yes, how can I help you?
You turn around to see him, and he slowly approaches you. I'd like to ask you some questions, if you don't mind, if you have a moment.
But of course.
He gets to within about 5 feet of you, and then he stops.
Does he recognize me?
He looks you up and down, and he says, I've never seen you around here until recently. Where you
That's
come?
correct.
Where do you come from? What's with the puppet show? Why don't you
I
find...
come from everywhere. I travel around. I paid my way to a passage here. I was here many years ago. I travel from continent to continent performing and bringing joy to everyone.
Okay, go ahead and give me a... I'm going to say... Give me
as I'm talking... actually, no. I'll do the roll first.
Go ahead. Give me a talk face roll.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back at.
Welcome
How
back.
many dice?
2d10. Oof.
Oh, I got 9.
He looks at you for a moment, and he gets very serious for a moment as he narrows his eyes at you. There have been a lot of people going missing recently. I'm sure you've heard, right?
Of course, my friend. I'm going to pull out the bottle of the Orcan wine, and I'm going to take a swig, and I'm going to go, what do you know about that?
Not a damn thing, unfortunately. But
Does he?
Go ahead.
Does he notice the wine that I have?
He does.
Would you like a drink, and we could talk?
Go ahead and give me another talk face roll.
This bottle of wine is an extremely rare bottle of Orcan wine.
Gotcha.
Cool. $19.
Gotcha. Okay, he looks at the bottle of wine, and he hears your words, and he says, listen, I can't drink on the job. I was going to say that you look very suspicious, sir. But, listen, just be careful, alright? And
Understood.
try to make yourself not to look too suspicious.
Will do. I will continue with my puppet show, sir. If you need me, you know where to find me. I will be around bringing joy to everyone.
He looks at you for a moment, and then he turns around and walks away. Okay, going back to before, with Kasha, your trance ends, and Kasha, I'd like for you to give me a perception roll and use your perception twice in the roll. It's going to be 2d10 plus double your perception.
Give me a moment. I need to back.
You need to what?
I need to look at my character sheet. So give me like 10 seconds.
Okay. That's right. You're on phone, aren't you? You don't need to answer that. I already know. They don't have a laptop. I know. Can you imagine not having a computer, Aaron? Whoa.
Yeah,
That
I would have probably hung myself by now.
that would suck. It really would.
All I have to say, when it comes to gaming, this is the first time I haven't had a laptop or a desk.
Okay, out of character stuff aside, let's go back in. What's your role? Kasha? Are you there, Kasha?
I am.
If you'd like, I can just... Let me see if I can find your character sheet here real quick, because I know it can be...
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Okay. You're going to roll 2d10 plus 2. That's what you're going to roll. Alright. I can roll for you as well if you'd like. Would you like that? Kasha? Are you there? What is going on?
I'm rolling.
Oh, okay, I see. 13? Okay, you notice tiny footsteps behind you, and you peer behind you to see your new elf companion, like, slowly coming forward, having backed away for some reason.
And in a defensive a maneuver, she takes her staff and holds it up against their chest and says, "Why are you following me?"
What do you mean? No. Gosh, it's your companion that's following you. Like, your ally. They backed away, and then they're, like, coming back forward now.
They can tell she's had at least 2 bottles to herself. She
Okay, so your character is confused then. Right? That's what's happening, Kasha? Are you there?
she's quite inebriated.
I see. Okay. So how do you react to this gesture then, Torgwin?
I push her staff a little bit away from me, and I'm reacting with what? Why do you? Why do you do this? What's happening?
Yeah, at this point, a few of the other people in the room, they speak up. Jonah asks, "Are you all right? Nobody's been following you. We've been here the whole time." And Chorus speaks up. She seems to have perhaps delved too deeply into the drink.
And in her defense, as she's looking upon everyone, her eyes actually the purest white anyone has ever seen.
Okay. Continuing on, Chris says, I hope that that information was useful to you, and that you can use it to find your brother. And I think, you should be a little bit more careful with your allies there. They might easily misunderstand you, Gasha.
My friend, I already know that, but I do appreciate your concern.
Okay. Takana, are you still there?
Sorta.
Okay. Continuing on. I don't really know of anything else concerning your brother. He just left. That's all I can really say. Maybe you could talk with some of the people around the markets, see if they know anything different. I think the guards have already spoken with them, but I guess it didn't lead to anything.
And she pipes up and says, no matter what time of day it is, there's always those who you cannot see that has seen more than you know.
Chorus replies that, right. If you say so.
Your mother just said, "Stop being such a stubborn fucking asshole."
Okay. Out of character. One second. What is going on, Lil?
She's just trying. I guess you could say she's trying to intimidate him.
Okay. Chorus looks up at you as you say these words to him, and we're just going to continue, by the way, sorry. And he replies, "My mother, you say? And what would you know of my mother, Orcan?"
Quick question. With her shadow magic, is she able to summon an actual visage of her?
I mean, you could perhaps do something like that, but it wouldn't be the nicest thing to do, and it would be like an extreme, like, breach of your duty as a diplomat. You would not be
Good
carrying
point.
yourself in a very good way.
Good point. After she says that, her flesh tone goes from what it normally is to extremely pale as she drops to one knee and begs his forgiveness.
He notices this gesture, and he says to you, "I think that you have a lot to learn of the world. Forgiveness is not something that you earn with a simple gesture."
And that I understand, my friend.
If we don't have anything else to gain from this, then we should go and continue our search.
Let's go.
Okay. Do any of the rest of you wish to say anything as you are leaving this man's house?
Yeah. Torgwin just mentions that it would also be wise to look at this man's quarters. As in the one that is missing. Maybe he left something there. Which can give us a lead.
Jonah pipes in, that's not a bad idea. I'm not sure if maybe some of the other guards have already taken a look through his dwelling, but we can go there. I can take you, in fact, if you'd like to go. Yeah, let's go. I'll lead you there.
Yeah, well, then let's start with this. And go to the market after.
Sounds good. You are taken... they seem to live in the same area. Jonah begins to explain to you, while the diplomats are here acting on behalf of their people, they get to have a nice standard of living here. The Assembly sets aside some housing for them temporarily while they are, doing their diplomat thing here. Lucky people. They don't have to make a living. But that's besides the point. It's right over here. And he takes you not too far up the street, and into this other house. He brings out a key ring, and he begins to go through the various keys, trying to find the right one. I know it was here somewhere, and he just keeps on trying. I think perhaps this one, and then with a click, I got it. And he pushes the door open. And the inside of it is structured similarly to the other man's dwelling. It seems these buildings were made to be somewhat identical. Well, somewhat the same, rather. Not identical. And you enter in, and it is just piercing cold in here. There's no hearth, there's no fire, and there's, scrolls and other sort of, belongings, presumably of of Rocash, just strewn about everywhere. And you noticed immediately that this doesn't seem like something that was professional. It seems like whoever was in here searching was searching for something frantically.
Were there really only the guards in here?
Jonah takes a look at the surroundings and he says, maybe not. This doesn't seem like the way that they would usually leave the building. We're usually pretty orderly about this stuff, but I don't remember them saying anything about the house being sacked. Let's take a look around, see what we can find. And he enters in with you guys in tow. I'd like for everyone to give me a perception roll. Your perception, and just use it twice in the roll.
Okay, my character perception is 2.
I'll roll for you, Josh.
No, I don't know how to get.
Oh, you have to type roll before the 2d10.
Before the slash.
Yeah, like this. I'll do it in quotes for you. Sorry. 2. Like that.
I typed it exactly like that, and it.
No, you have to do it. I'm sorry. The roll has to come after the slash.
I did. Oh, of course. Okay.
Sorry. Oh goodness. What?
What?
One second. I'm not sure what the heck is going on here. That should have worked.
Yeah, I know.
Something going on with my bot? Is that what's happening?
Can you use space?
I wrote both my D10 at the same time.
Okay. I'll try to figure this out later. Are you okay with me just rolling for you for now? Is that okay, Bill? Just for now.
Sure.
Until we can figure this out?
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
trying something. Hold on.
Okay. So you got a 15 on your roll then. If I'm understanding correctly.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Huh.
I don't understand.
That's really weird because I thought it would be the space after the plus, but it isn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. We'll figure that out later. We've been having some technical difficulties. We'll work out the kinks. This is to be expected. So we got a 15, another 15, 13. Okay, so you sort of fan out through this home. Here's what I'll say. Immediately you notice glass shattered in the back. Somebody has broken in through the window. They haven't really tried to like disguise their entry at all. Perhaps they couldn't get through the door, or for whatever reason. But this immediately tells you that whoever was entering in here was not doing so legally. This is definitely not something that the guards would do. That's the first thing that you notice as a group. Trying to think here. What else? You notice that there are valuables strewn around here, like jewelry. It's kind of primitive looking, but they are jewels, no less. Like they have some sort of a value to them, and as well as like some gold pieces as well. So they didn't take anything of material value, but at the same time, you can't really find what might be missing from this scene. I'm trying to think here. Anything else? No, I think that's it. It seems like they exited out the back where they came in from through the shattered window. And judging by what Jonah has said to you, this must have been something that happened somewhat recently. And in fact, as you look out the back of the house, you see footprints in the snow. Relatively fresh footprints, in fact. I'll say Takana, you're the first one to notice that. What would you guys like to do?
Well, I'm going to try to follow the footprints.
Makes sense. All right. Is everybody else going with it?
Quick question. Can I tell if there's any spirits in the area?
You would have to make a roll and use your magic to do that. And what sort of spirits are you looking for? Like water spirits, or?
Just any. Well, mainly.
Shadow, right? That's what you're looking for?
Correct.
You could make a roll to try and like reach out to anything, but you know that that's very dangerous. Demons are not the kindest of beings, and sometimes when you
Sure.
whisper to them, well, they don't just whisper back.
And
What's up? Kasha? What are you trying to say, ma'am?
she wants to make sure that they're on the right path.
Okay, then you really couldn't discern that with your magic, honestly. There's nothing that you could really do to discern if you're on the right path.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Continuing forward, I'll assume... Actually, how about we stop here for today? I feel like this might be a good stopping point. Is that cool with everybody? We're having a few issues, and I feel like this might be a good place to stop.
Yeah. My phone is like hella glitching right now. So, yeah, and I do apologize to everyone.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end the
I'll work
recording
on
here.
getting my other headset.
I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.